The goal of every service-based solopreneur is to get in front of the right people, build amazing connections, and find your dream clients to work with you. But when it comes to social media, it can be hard to cut through the noise, create the amount of content that you actually need to do that organically, and actually see results from the time and energy that you're investing into it. Oftentimes, it comes down to just not having a solid plan or strategy in place. So when you're not sure what you should be posting, when it should be, and how it's actually working to inform or bring your clients on a journey, just thinking about it and trying to work out what to even create can be exhausting and overwhelming before you've even started. Maybe you've been creating content on platforms like Instagram for a bit, you post a few times and then you lose motivation when you don't see immediate results. Or maybe you're unsure what to post and so you just keep putting it off to next week, hoping that inspiration will strike, and it just never seems to come. I talk to people about this every day, and I know it can be so disheartening when all you really want to do is get back to doing the thing that you do best, which is actually working with your clients. If this is you today, I'm going to share with you an intuitive process that will help you to create more content, do it in a more natural way, feel more authentic doing it, and really start to connect with the people who actually get you and want to work with you. I'm going to cover some simple steps to documenting your journey, how to do it, what it is, and some tips to get you started. I'm Katherine Mackenzie-Smith. I'm a business coach and strategist for introverted and highly sensitive service-based solopreneurs who are just trying to cut through the noise, build sustainable businesses, and connect with the people who really need what they have to offer. So what is documenting your journey? It's actually just keeping a visual, audio, or written record of what you're doing and how you're doing it, things you're implementing, and what's going on in your world along the way. It aims to capture your day-to-day lived experience, share your personality, your strengths, and the work that you do, so that your people understand it in a way that makes sense to them. And it's going to help you create meaningful content that actually resonates with the people you most want to work with. It's great for anyone who wants to create a personal brand or a service-based solopreneur business, keep a record of their own journey to be able to look back on one day, and invite others along for the ride into your tight-knit community of people who love you and your work. So why is documenting your journey so important? In my experience, it is a really natural way to tell your story or share stories with people. And statistics show that people are 55% more likely to purchase from a business when they connect with the story of the brand or the person who is running that business. Research suggests that information retention goes from 5 to 10% up to 67% when there's storytelling involved. This means that when people resonate with our story or they feel like they're part of our journey, it allows our content to build deeper connections with them, but it means they're also more likely to become customers than if we weren't using storytelling in the first place. Most of the messaging out in the online business world is to position yourself as an expert, be the guru, fake it till you make it. But there are so many issues with this, not just the ethical implications, but also for your own self, the disconnect that it can create, that imposter complex when you are pretending to be something that you're not, and the energy that actually transfers through that with every piece of content that you create. By documenting your journey and sharing content in a story-based way about your own lived experiences and skills and things that you're learning along the way, you'll be able to get started more quickly. Not only that, you build confidence with your storytelling and you start nurturing and connecting with people who really like you and resonate with you, your work, and your messaging. How can you feel like an imposter when you're just sharing your own story and what you're learning? Creating content in a way that is more like documenting versus trying to teach or educate, even though there is obviously a place for this content in your ecosystem as well, gives you the ability to actually focus on people who really resonate with who you are, the way that you talk about things, and enables you to build a community of like-minded people, which is going to help you to narrow down your niche. It's going to help you create more content and more offers that are going to resonate directly with the people who just get you and understand what it is that you do. There are so many benefits to this, and it means creating less content that nobody sees, and it opens up a flow of creativity that is really difficult to connect with when you're trying to be something that you're not. So I've talked about what documenting your journey is and why it's important, but I understand if it's still a little bit confusing, what does that actually look like in your business when you're creating content? I first learned this concept from Gary Vee, who at this stage in his content creation journey has an entire team of creators who he's paying to follow him around, film him, and edit and cut up his stuff to distribute across multiple platforms and channels. Obviously, he's not the best example for those of us who are just starting out and who aren't just going around getting paid lots of money to do keynote speeches and do interesting things every single day that would even warrant having someone follow you around with a camera. I know for myself personally, a lot of my time is spent sitting here at this desk, and the rest of that time is on my big yellow armchair or in my bed, just chilling out and having that downtime. It's so not interesting at all. So I wanted to give you some examples of what documenting your journey looks like, because I bet you're already doing some of these, but also to give you some ideas of how this can help you in your business, in your content creation, and become something that you're naturally doing instead of having to put extra time aside for content creation. Example number one is to tell stories about times or moments in your life that your work has directly impacted. If you're not really sure how to do this, you can absolutely go to a platform like TikTok and see the kinds of things that people are telling little mini stories about in their imperfect worlds. We don't get this so much on YouTube, on Instagram, because it's a different kind of format that is usually more carefully curated and highly edited. And back in 2020, when we were all stuck at home, TikTok absolutely boomed, because between watching Tiger King and learning how to make sourdough bread, many people started to document their journeys, share what was going on in their world, and use TikTok as a way to start doing like mini vlogs, sharing stories, and doing all sorts of interesting things that are really transforming the way that content creation is being made, consumed, and enjoyed by people. Starting by telling little stories from your life and trying to distill them into 1 to 2 minute videos is a really great way to start practicing your storytelling and how the work that you do now in your business has given you skills, tools, and a transformation that has changed how you are today or what you would do differently today. This is the ultimate point A to point B. So if you've done my Master Your Message training, you'll know that this is such a key part of talking to people where they're at, but also showing them what's possible for them when they work with you. Starting to get practice telling stories in this way is something that you can get practice doing on any of the platforms that do short form video content, TikTok, your Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts. The whole point of documenting your journey is really understanding that the first stuff you put out is probably going to be your worst, but in a year, in 5 years, in 3 months even, you're going to be able to look back and see how far you've come. So you can start today and be terrible today, and in 6 months' time be so much better at storytelling and sharing parts of your journey. Or you can wait, start in a year, start in 6 months, and be terrible then. The best thing about trying this out is you don't need any fancy equipment to get started. You can literally just plop your phone down and start telling stories. I'm going to link some of my favorite TikTok journey documenters in the description down below so you can get a feel for how this can work in so many different ways and start to see how many different examples there are of following this process. The next example is actually from one of my favorite books of all time. It is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she tells this story about her best-selling book that is still to this day a huge bestseller, Eat, Pray, Love. She talks about how if she had decided to write it as a self-help book, which essentially it kind of is, it would not have had the same cultural impact and significance as it did when she wrote it as a memoir. Because she shared her story of being deeply unhappy, leaving a marriage that didn't feel right for her anymore, traveling overseas, doing these incredible things, meeting new people, and coming alive again, she was able to show what that journey looked like without doing the whole, this is what you must do in order to do this. The good thing about that is people don't generally like to be told what to do, but we get caught up in the stories of other people and start to dream about what's possible for us as well. And she talks about this at length with examples in the book. This is the concept called show, don't tell that I learned about when I was at uni studying film and TV. I've never forgotten that in most cases, unless it is a specific storytelling choice where you can use the scenery, the set, and the body language and nonverbal communication of the actors so much better than using something like voiceover with huge exposition in it in order to fill in the audience. When you're documenting your journey, instead of telling people how good you are at what you do, you're actually showing people what they can expect when they work with you, the kinds of tools, resources, and modalities that you use in your work, and the kind of person that you are, so they know not just what you do, but also who you are. And to give you some context for this in relation to your business, last year I wrote an email with the subject line, I'm so tired. It was a big year. It was coming to the end of the year, and there was a lot of stuff going on in the coaching industry online that was just feeling really exhausting. So I told a personal story about what was going on for me and what it was that I was doing to support myself throughout that time. And that led to such an amazing response from my email community. And I actually got a response from someone that said, this is the best business email that I've read in so long. And I just know that that wouldn't have had the same impact if I had written it as 5 things to do when you're feeling tired at the end of the year. There's always a time and a place for educational content within the bigger ecosystem of what you're creating. But when it comes to things like wanting to connect and build community with people, especially on your social media platforms, telling a story or sharing something from your own personal experience just always connects better. The best way to implement this is to actually write from the heart. Pretend that you're writing it to someone that you're friends with or who knows you quite well. Write it down, get it all out, walk away, and then come back and read it afterwards so that you can take out anything that you don't feel comfortable sharing in a more public way, but you can still maintain the energy of that feeling of intimacy that happens when you're sharing with someone who you know quite well versus when you think that you need to show up and position yourself as an expert. And my last example, to give you some ideas to think about how you could possibly do this for yourself and create an actual series where maybe once a week or for a set period of time, you're creating content where you're bringing people along on a journey with you. This is something that I'm going to be doing coming up with my Secret Introverts business members. Make sure that you come and follow along on Instagram or TikTok at Miss_KMS. We're going to be spending this month documenting your journey a go, and I'm really excited to do it in a bit of a container of creating a series that is going to bring people, including yourselves, on this journey. If that's something you're interested in, I'll pop the link in the description so you can check that out and come join us. What you're probably going to want to do is actually think about what the transformation is that your main offer you're focusing on right now actually provides. You invite your people to stay in your ecosystem. So if they're on your email list, you invite them to come over and follow you on Instagram or wherever it is where you're going to be sharing your journey. So say you're a yoga teacher and you support people to create a mindfulness and intuitive yoga practice. This is obviously something that you're going to be passionate about and probably do throughout your day anyway. And so a really easy, natural way to document some of the things that you're doing throughout the day and the ways that you're using yoga to get through your day and live more intuitively. You actually just pop down your camera and share with people what that is. So say you had a bad night's sleep and you woke up feeling really lethargic and a bit stiff in the neck, and maybe you have a certain pose that you do to help yourself with that. Pop the camera down, hit record, film yourself doing it, and you can pop some music on it or some text on the screen to show people what they can do if they wake up from a bad night's sleep. This does so many things in one go when you're already doing it in your life anyway. It shows people that no matter how long you've been doing yoga for, you still have days where you're not feeling your best. But you're also showing people how yoga can be a really great solution for that. You're showing them that you're human too and not perfect, but you have tools, rituals, practices that help you to get through the day and get back to your best. And you can share those with them when they come and work with you. And you're also giving without asking for anything, but you're building trust every single time that you show up and do that, that no matter where someone's at, you're going to have those tools to call on to help them. Another example is, say you're a virtual assistant, a graphic designer, an SEO expert, copywriter, whatever it might be. The service itself doesn't really matter, but you might be doing something thinking that everyone knows what it is that you actually do. But say for a virtual assistant, even a copywriter, everyone has different skills and strengths, and your potential clients might actually not know what they should be hiring you to do. On the days that you're working in your business, you could just pop up a daily checklist of the client work that you have on for that day. You might share some of the tools that you use to make your life easier, or some of the things you're setting up for your clients. And then it's such a natural call to action to say, hey, if you need help with this too, here's where you can find out more about working together. This is going to give people who are following you so many ideas of different ways that they might hire you that before you actually shared that, they might not have even known that you could help them. And it also shows that other people currently trust you to do the same thing. And one more example for you, say you're a life coach for mums with small kids. I know that most mums think they have to be superhuman, and that when they're having a bad day or they just want to run away and hide, or the house is a mess, or any of those things, that the mum guilt sets in. When you're documenting your journey as someone who supports people through that, but is also that person as well, sharing your own journey, showing little pieces behind the scenes of your world, shows that you don't have to be perfect all the time. You don't have to be superhuman, and that you don't always get it right either, but there are ways that they can also manage when things feel chaotic. Showing that things inevitably go wrong when you're trying to keep tiny humans alive, instead of just telling people, hey, you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to be superhuman, but but actually showing them your own version of that not only connects with people at their core, but it also shows them that you are doing these things, you have got a system, you have put these things into place, and it doesn't always go right, and that's okay, which is going to help people connect so much more with you when they know that you are also dealing with these things, even though you're a pro, than if you just told them that they didn't need to be superhuman or sometimes your life is messy too. Showing these things and documenting your behind the scenes not only gives them permission to be okay with where they're at, but you have something that's going to help them to deal with all of those things. So have I convinced you yet that documenting your journey is either something that you're actually already doing quite naturally or something that you want to put some more time and energy into? Let me share a few tips so that you can get started today without overcomplicating it. First up, keep it simple. This is not about deciding you're going to become a YouTube vlogger and going out and buying fancy equipment, having to learn how to do editing and try and work out how to brand and build a YouTube channel. What are you already doing? Where are you already showing up? And how can you start to implement some of these ways of storytelling into content you're already creating? When you share who you are instead of just what you do, you're effectively inviting people a little bit into your world, but in a boundaried way that allows you to share the pieces that you know are going to be helpful for your people without having to share all your private life with the whole internet. And when you do this and your people find you, and I'm talking the people who just find your content, want to binge it all, instantly connect with who you are and what you stand for, they'll be so excited to follow along and work with you when they realize that your offer or your program is the next step in their journey as well. You might start with Instagram stories, which is up for 24 hours and then it's gone. If you're doing something like a 30-day challenge or a series, you can even create a little highlight on your bio where people can catch up on that later. But it's a great starting place, and you can start with something as simple as holding the camera up and talking about something that you've learned. You can pop it down somewhere and film yourself doing something you're doing every day in your business anyway. You can take photos throughout the day of little things that you're doing, give people a sneak peek on what you're working on, what's going on behind the scenes for you without having to overcomplicate it. My next tip is to create a bit of a plan for yourself. So if this is a new way of creating content and you're not really sure what you're doing, you might like to create a bit of a plan. In other words, decide what it is that you want to document and why you're doing it. This is why I like the idea of creating a little mini challenge for yourself that you can invite people along on, or setting yourself a goal and sharing that a little bit publicly of what you're doing, what's working, checking in, reviewing, and what you're going to do next week, because it's going to help you build some momentum, but it's also going to get you into a habit that you can then start to create more naturally. To get started, you might just brainstorm a few stories that have been a huge part of your personal transformation, doing the work that you do, that you can start to share with people in different ways. What are things that you do every day or you teach your clients to do, you share with your clients that you can film or take a photo of or talk a little bit more about because you do them in your day as well? Give people that sneak peek behind the scenes and also give them an idea of what to expect when they work with you. And I think it's really helpful to have something like the Notes app to jot down ideas or stories for if you don't have time in the moment to tell the story, to come back to and share later on. Keep that somewhere so those stories and those ideas don't get lost. And my final tip is to actually just have fun with it and be creative. I know for many business owners, because I talk to you every single day, that content creation doesn't necessarily come naturally. It's not necessarily something that you enjoy doing, and you really just want to get back to the thing that you started your business for in the first place, which is working with your clients. But what if creating content and sharing your work in this way that's going to captivate and engage your people actually became a really fun part of your day-to-day? This is really my favorite thing about this idea of documenting your journey, because what you're doing is you're actually capturing things that you already do and linking it back to your work. The more that you start to look for those links and connections, the more you're going to see them, and you're going to have so many amazing real life examples of what people can expect when they come and work with you, why your work is so important, and exactly who it's for, so that they can make that decision before they even get to any sales page or any promotional post that you might put up. And find a way that feels natural for you. So if you're journaling every single day because it's just a part of your mindfulness practice as a mindfulness coach, you might share prompts that you're sitting with, share little photos or videos of you actually writing, and you might not actually share any of the journaling itself. Or you might find some of the best stuff that comes out of your journaling that you can then share in your weekly newsletter with your inner circle community. And when you find a way that feels fun for you, that starts to feel natural, of course, at first it's probably not, but when you start to get into a habit and you start to create content in this way, that energy will transcend through someone's phone and really connect with them, which is going going to lead to the results you want, which is building a thriving and engaged community and connecting with your dream clients who are so excited to work with you. If you create content and build offers around a money-making niche that some internet marketing guru told you had to do, guess what? Not only is it not going to be enjoyable, you'll probably feel less great sharing it. And even if it connects with people at first, it's so unlikely that it's going to build those lasting relationships. When you're sharing your work in a way that you enjoy, like you're talking to a good friend, you're sharing your day-to-day, you're sharing your behind the scenes and showcasing your skills and experience, it's going to connect with people who are really looking for what you've got. Content creation then becomes fun and a part of your day that you naturally capture. And it's an incredible record of how far you've come that you'll be able to look back on years and years down the track. And if the idea of documenting your journey makes you feel nervous about sharing too much personal information, consider this. It's your platform. You get to decide how much you share, which stories you share. You don't have to share the most personal things about yourself. In fact, you start to understand what it is that your people are actually going to really resonate with. So just share the things that you want to. If you've been noticing that people have become less engaged and like you really just want to try something else to make content creation fun again, then maybe starting to document your journey is something to try that's not going to take all your time and energy, and you can find a way to make it fun for you. You can get started right now. Pick up your phone, take a screenshot of this episode and share it on your social media with a takeaway, something that you enjoyed or something that you're going to try. And there you go, you've already started. If you're interested in really giving this a go and taking part in our challenge, then please come and join us in the Secret Introvert's Business Gentle Growth Hub. It is just $7 a month. You can cancel anytime. And this month, we're specifically going to be focusing on documenting your journey, holding each other accountable, sharing things that we've learned, and making content creation fun and easy. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments or come and connect with me on Instagram at Miss_KMS. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and I'll catch you in the next one.